Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming along to this screening tonight of this wonderful film, A Night Like This. I'm Susan Becket. I'm director of City Eye. You might have just seen that we were really proud to support this film. It was a very London film, as you will have seen, but very much with its kind of roots in Southampton in many ways. Director Liam, a colleague of ours at City Eye, who studied here, and many, many other people from this area who contributed to the film. So we are delighted to host this premiere screening here tonight, and welcome to you all. I'd like to now invite the writer-producer, Diego Scerrati, and Liam Calvert, the director, to join me up here for a Q&A. I should have said, actually, if any of you want to come closer, please do so. It feels like some of you are a little bit back in the distance there, but we can shout if we need to, can't we?
Of course.
And I will be allowing you to ask some questions also as we go on. But I wanted to start off just by asking you to tell us about how you came together to make this film.
Through happenstance, really, just the magic of the internet. I was reading scripts online, like a script feedback service, and most of them were like very sort of beginner people starting out and being like, no, it's the perfect script, and it wasn't. But I read one that was pretty good, so gave some notes on it, and then that turned out to be Diego's script. So we got chatting about that script and then this one, and then sort of Diego was on about getting it made. And I was like, oh, yeah, if you need crew, let me know, thinking like a runner. And then he was like, director? And then sort of went from there, really.
Yeah, it was just, I basically approached Liam just because actually we connected to a different script, not even like this one. And then we started to chat about the script, and I watched like a couple of shorts that he's done as well. And it kind of like resonated like with me as well, like the same way, like I was seeing characters as well in a script. And so when I just told him like, I had this crazy idea, I want to try to make this film somehow, and I need a director. So like, that's basically how everything is started. And then always through internet, actually, we managed to put together like the entire crew. Also, I think like, as he said, like the magic of, communities like on internet and stuff. I think like you did the job.
It feels very much as though it was a community of people coming together to make that possible. I mean, what would have happened if you hadn't met, do you think?
Well, that's a very good question.
Oh, sorry, new one.
But that's the beauty of it, I guess. Like, because I feel like even with the actors, with all the crew members, like I want to say that it happened by chance. Like, but that's how sometimes things like get made. Like, I think like I feel very blessed. Like, I'm very lucky as well that I got to work with some very like young talents that were actually so much talented that actually like made this like this film real. Like so sometimes I want to think that maybe things happen for a reason. Like
yeah,
so.
It felt like some stars aligned to get everything like to happen the way it did. Like shooting in February last year, there's only one day that was like rained off, and we managed to get some of the locations happened to be free on the days we needed them. And like everything, like it was during the Hollywood strike, so a lot of crew were available to help out and come and be on board. And then David Bradley, who appeared in it, his film had been pushed back a month, so he suddenly had free time. So when we emailed him, he was available to do it. So it feels like a lot of things sort of fell into place for it to happen the way it did.
Yeah, I think that like, Oliver and Lucas in this film, sometimes you wonder if some encounters like just happened by chance, or maybe there was like maybe some reason behind that. So like, yeah, it kind of felt like the same way.
Yeah, I think the story echoes,
exactly.
yours. So it's really interesting. And how important was it that you shot in London? I'm interested, Diego, how much that landscape was written into the script, or again, how much was that opportune, I guess?
Well, like for me, like it felt like the right place since the very beginning. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I came to London 12 years ago, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak a single word of English like 12 years ago, so I was feeling like pretty lonely, and I was spending a lot of time like, just wandering through London, just like, looking at the city, meeting people, trying to chat, like trying to find something in the city. And I think that London is quite unique in terms of like, it seems like a city that is so like multicultural, it's so welcoming, but at the same time it's also quite cold, and it can feel like pretty isolating as well sometimes. So I feel like it was just a perfect setting for like a story like that. And we see pretty much like a lot of London, like some very like more touristic or some more like warmer places, and other like quite cold alleyways and dark corners. So I don't know, like there is probably like a bit of my experience like with London as well, but I felt like since the very beginning was probably the right place for a story like that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like it's kind of because it's a bigger city that kind of enhances the loneliness you'd sort of feel there. Like I was thinking from shooting here, when I was living here, I was never more than maybe a 10, 15-minute walk away from seeing friends somewhere, having somewhere to meet up. Whereas in London, often it's, 30, 45-minute journey so we can get to another area where people might be. And having that many more people around can make it more isolating in that way, which I think feeds into a lot of the story. And even though they're in the big city in the country, at Christmas time when people are around, that's often the time people feel loneliest. I think it definitely works and is part of the setting and influences.
I wonder what your greatest challenge was in making this, bringing it to this point. I mean, I'm sure there were many, but you've overcome them because this is, absolutely fabulous. So, but what are you most proud of overcoming, I guess?
Lack of money. That's probably one.
That thing.
Well, I mean, for me, it was to probably getting the film made in so many locations in London with a tiny budget that we had.
I don't know how we ever thought this was a good script to make at the start, like with the amount of locations. Very optimistic.
Like casting wise, like I'm really proud of the actors that we got, all the cast that we had, and crew wise. I mean, I couldn't ask for more, honestly. But I think for me, like, and that kind of like came along. I don't want to say easily, but like, it just, as we said,
it did kind of fall into place a bit, didn't it?
Exactly. But in terms of like planning the whole shoot, like in 20 days in February in London with such a tiny budget, that probably was the greatest challenge, and it took almost like a year of scouting and negotiations with like film councils, private locations, like to find like the right place that probably had some kind of like, production setting, like, some kind of visual that could adapt like to the film. I mean, London offers many opportunities, like, because it's a big city, but it's still very challenging to put all these things together, considering like a very small, like independent film with such like a tiny budget. So that for me was like the biggest challenge. I guess like for Liam, maybe like directing wise might have been something else.
I think it's similar in just that pulling everything together. I think sort of went into it quite like half optimistic, half naive on how we're going to make it work. But then I think the timing and like the lack of funds, because we went to a lot of the big funders and people were like, yeah, it's a great idea, but no. So it's tough getting money and sort of scraping together what we had. So, often we weren't in one location for more than 2 days or 1 day or half a day a lot of the time. So we'd me and the DOP would make a big shot list, and with like 20 lovely shots we want to get, and the first AD would look at it and be like, you can have 4. So a lot of having to be smart, having to make things work. But then also that kind of inspired a lot of the creativity of having to, how can we make this work in the least amount of shots possible? How can we tell the story the best way? What do we need out of this scene? And it kind of inspired a lot of the great shots that Ollie and me came up with.
And if I can add something else as well, like for me, like, and this is like also like CDIs and CDI and stuff, like it's so hard nowadays to find, people who trust like young filmmakers. And that's also was one of the challenge in order to like, find money to make this film, because I was a first time writer and producer, like Liam was like a first time like feature like director, and we got a lot of like no and rejections purely based on the fact that we were like new to the industry rather than the quality of the script so like personally I feel like so thankful for everyone who actually believed like in Liam, like in us, like in this project, like CDI included, because I think like it's hard today for young filmmakers to get an opportunity in the industry, but it's so important because otherwise we're never going to find like new people, new talents. So that I think that shows that, you know, even with a tiny budget, it's possible to make films, and it's possible to give opportunities to talents like Liam and all the other people who work in this film. So thank you.
Well, thank you for letting us be part of it. It's been a huge honour. We've got, you know, young filmmakers in the audience tonight, and people from our BFI Film Academy, which, you know, Liam supported us to deliver now. And of course, some of those young people came to the set and acted as runners for you on location. And I know one here who's just a brilliant producer. We've got, in fact, you know, 2 or 3 really great producers here. What would be your advice, Diego, to them in how to get their careers going?
Well, I don't know, because I feel there was so many times, like so many occasions that where everything could have gone really wrong. So I don't know if I'm the best like to give any advice, but for me, especially when you're starting out, is basically, I know that it sounds probably very silly and rhetorical, but it's resilience. Never give up. Because like you're gonna get like so many rejections like we had, like but you need to keep believing and keep trying to talk to as many people as possible, because there is always someone out there like keen to give you a chance and an opportunity. You just need to find the right people, but only if you keep like, you know, doing it and believing in what you're doing. That's the only way you can do it, unfortunately. So
that was your strength for making it. Whenever we got a no, there were, you know, a lot of people would have just been like, okay, it's not going to happen, but you would just go and find someone else to email, someone else to call, and someone else to pester until eventually we got it made, which is the skill that a lot of people would have sort of folded and given up, but you kept it going. I think that is the skill of a producer, is just the resilience of it.
Yeah, I think it's a really important lesson. So all of you out there who are thinking about getting into this business, listen to that. I think the other thing that I mentioned this earlier to both of you, and Liam, I think you know this, that the thing that I think is really important is just decency and respect and professionalism, and sometimes that can seem, you know, hard to find in our industry, and I think you both exude that. So another lesson to everyone: resilience, and behaving well. Really, I think it's a very simple thing.
Yeah, because look, I think like this is one of those industries or businesses where you can only like do stuff like together. You can't really go anywhere like on your own. So like as you said, like respect, like decency, but also like, you know, every film is not made by just like a director or a writer or a producer or an actor. Is made by all these people like together. So again, like trying to build your own network and trying to like make as many like, you know, connections as possible, and try always to be respectful like of other people, and trying to build something together, because like without that, like no one is gonna make it like in this industry on their own. So like I think like that's very important as well.
Wow. So this film's, you know, been doing so well. It's just, you know, beautiful. It's wonderful. You know, I guess you started with BFI Flair earlier in the spring with, you know, the film's premiere at South Bank, which, you know, was an amazing thing. I was really, you know, honoured to be there for that. And since then, you've literally travelled, you know, the world. You've been all over the place. So can you just give us a flavour of that and what the high spots have been in that experience?
It's been an amazing experience to be able to go to all the different places to go and watch it. And I think I've most enjoyed seeing different audiences watch it and seeing what certain audiences find entertaining or find certain things more. Like the audience in Italy really loved it. They were really passionate about it. Whereas the audience in Florida were lovely, but some of the more British humour definitely didn't quite land as much. Some of Oliver's dry comments didn't quite have the same laughter. And one person did ask for subtitles afterwards so they could understand it. But yeah, it's just been amazing to see it received by people all over, and see like the message of it be received, a message about sort of connection and understanding, and sort of just looking to the person next to you and, you know, forming a bond. Even if it's just for one night, that's been the thing that I've enjoyed seeing travel around.
Yeah, I think for me as well, it's been quite exciting to see like different reactions from like different audiences, like from different countries as well. I think like the most interesting was like the American audience as well, because like it's complete different audience. So they were like, oh my God, are they gonna react the same way or not? We had a very good reaction like in Italy, as you said, but because we love chatting, so we love like, you know, films like where people just chat. It was quite interesting for me. It just went beyond all the expectations that I had at the beginning, because I was just like literally thinking about getting this film done without thinking like, you know, what's going to happen like in the future. So every single festival was just like a bonus. Even Flare was already like a bonus, because I wasn't expecting to premiere like at the BFI. And no, it's just been very, very exciting and really motivating for the future, I guess.
I mean, America might be tough, but you've had some great success there. Some, lovely.
We just won an award like in San Diego. So
yeah, best international feature. That was very good. It helps that a lot of people fancy Alex Lincoln. I think that's definitely helps with the success. But yeah, it's so nice to see the films
don't
done
tell
well.
Jack though. Don't tell Jack.
And people fancy Jack as well, of course.
Does anyone have a burning question for Liam or Diego, or both of them? Hi, Claudia.
Hello.
Congratulations. My question is, even though you see from looking at the joy without
I think there's always things that I noticed that I'm like, oh, I can't believe we missed that, or this could have been, maybe like expanded on, or we missed that. But I think that's always going to be the case with anything you make, even if we'd have had another year in the edit. I don't think it ever would have got to the point where we're both and everyone is entirely happy with everything. But I can appreciate lots of different things every time as well. There's a bit more pressure here with like sat next to all my friends of many years watching it and checking if they'd laugh. But also I'm trying to appreciate, and I look back at the memories and all what went into it. And I think we all did the best we could with what we had, and I'm very proud of what we managed to make at the end. And that's what I sort of look at each time. I don't know if you agree.
No, I totally agree. Like, I mean, there is always an element like where you think like, oh, I might have done this differently. Like sometimes like it's just about like also money and what we could have done, like we could have done with the money that we had. But at the same time, like it's your creature. Like, so like you can always think like maybe like, oh yeah, there are some imperfections like here and there, but at end of the day, as he said, like, we've done it. We make a film, for me, like a very beautiful film. And it might have some imperfection like here and there just because of budget reasons, but you need to end up loving it and be proud of what you've done just because you've done it. Like, I think this is important. Like everything that you can learn from it, it's just like a learning curve. You can like, put it in your next project. But other than that, I think like it's just like beautiful as it is. So sometimes I watch it and I think like, oh yeah, I could have done it like in a different way. But then I'm like, nah, I like it anyway. So. Oh, well, the post-production, like it took like a few months. So the reality is like when we finished shooting the script, we completely ran out of budget. So like
that had been our finish line, was just right, we'll finish shooting and anything after that, we'll figure that out.
So it took like a few months actually to find like some extra money, like some extra like funding for post-production. The actual process of post-production, I think it would be like 6 months,
probably,
maybe.
Yeah, September to February, March.
Yes, like so, like, and then we do like some extra like final touches, like in the end. I would say probably like 6-7 months was the overall like length of post-production. Like the editing, of course, like took a long time because we had like quite a few hours of like 26 hours like to put together. Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helped as well. Like it's quite quick for post-production. It helped we didn't really have any special effects to do. We had a few like masking things, but no, CGI aliens to include, which probably helped in the post-production. So it was quite a sort of whirlwind, especially because then when we got accepted for BFI Flair, we'd kind of sent in a rough cut or like a nearly finished cut. And then they were like, yeah, we'll have it. So we had, then suddenly that accelerated a lot of things. So the end of post-production was quite fraught.
Yeah, I think as Liam said, also like it's a sort of more like, you know, small budget like indie film, so they're not like special effects, not major things like to action like in a film. So it was more about like editing, sound mix with all the music and stuff. So yeah, like 6-7 months was pretty much like the length of the post-production.
Anyone else? Yeah. Oh.
Well, first of all, thank you. That's very kind. And second of all, I'd say kind of plan as best you can, but also there are going to be certain things outside of your control, things that happen on the day, things that crop up that you can't anticipate. So it's a balance of being as prepared as you can be, but also being able to sort of think on your feet, adapt. You know, there were days when on one of the scenes, a digger turned up down the road and started digging up the street. So we had to sort of curtail a lot of the plan and be like, right, how are we going to make it work? Can we do it this way? Can we get it done as quick as we can without any audio? So there was definitely a lot of thinking on our feet and being able to adapt on the fly and not being like planning, but not being too stuck into those plans, knowing what you need and knowing what you need, what you want, and what you could do without, sort of those sort of balancing and being prepared for anything that might come up.
I think what I learned the most, like from a producing point of view, it's just like, especially when you work like on an independent film, is like think outside the box. Because like I'm sort of like, Liam knows that very well, I'm sort of like a control freak. So I want to like try to plan everything, organize everything and have everything under control. But especially when you're making a film, like you realize that is never possible, like especially on the day, like there is always something that can happen. Like one day it rained all the time and we couldn't shoot anything. Yeah. So we had to deal with that as well. So I think that the lesson that I'm gonna probably bring into the next project is like, you know, sometimes let things go, because like eventually you will just need to adapt to what you have like, you know, in front of you and trying to solve problems on the spot on the day. So this is, I think it's a good lesson for every filmmaker, I guess, because like as much as you try to plan and organize anything, at some point you need to...
Yeah, unless you've got $50 million to control everything.
Exactly, but I don't think that's
probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Like, and sometimes you need to learn to work with what you have, because like I think we both proved that you can do like a good film with, you know, even a tiny budget, when sometimes where people are like, oh, you're never going to be able to do that with less than 1 million or 2 millions. And we just proved that we can, if you just like adapt and think sometimes really like outside the box. But again, that sense of community and team that you were talking about, that also made the difference, because when you build together like a team that is like willing and keen to help one another, then that makes the whole difference.
Anything else? Yeah, up to back.
But I mean, I think the magic is in the ending. I think I don't think personally that they're, you know, that their soulmates or gonna, you know, settle down and have kids or anything. But I think they're what they both needed at this specific time, and maybe, you know, they could come back, you know, in a sequel. But I think the magic of it is they were both what they needed then, and kind of the future's open. And I don't imagine they'd, you know, maybe they'd hang out for a week and then Lucas's snoring would be too much and then they'd just go their separate ways. But that's just my view. But I think we kind of left it open. So I don't know if you think differently or...
No, there is part of me who wants them together, yeah, of course. But I think like the reason why we wanted to leave the ending like a bit open is just because we didn't want to put the attention and the focus on what happens next, what happens in the future. I think the beauty of it is you don't know what's going to happen to them, but then puts like the bigger focus on what they lived and what they experienced like during that night and the meaning of it. So the meaning of it will go like beyond like, and it's going to be meaningful regardless what's going to happen to the characters then in the future. So that's the reason why I think we wanted to leave it both open. I'm not a big fan of sequels, so I don't think it's going to happen anyway, but But, for me, it was more like spend some time with these two characters over a night in London and then let them go to their fates. Like, once probably they find like some kind of like peace and meaning in their life. That's probably what they were looking for.
And they both very clearly need therapy.
Yes,
So...
definitely. Probably that's how I see them in the future. Yes.
Can I ask, what did you think should happen? Were you satisfied with your ending?
Yeah, a bit of baggage. Yeah, 26th. Perhaps. There are some wheels in motion. We're getting through the theatrical release, and then, you know, check out, where do you buy DVDs? HMV? You go to see HMV in a few months. Exactly, yeah. Keep your eyes peeled. Yeah, on the Friday 26th, though, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, 10 days.
Yeah, so it'll be in View and some Picturehouse cinemas. We should be announcing more soon.
So yes, please tell lots of people to go and see them.
I think there's another...
Up the back.
Yeah. Well, the casting has been very it's one of the things that I like the most, like casting, because you can see like a lot of like good actors. You can play with them. You can study like their chemistry and stuff. So like we casted like Jack as Lucas first, and Alex came like quite like I think like maybe a couple of weeks later, like a month later, maybe not far apart. But before them, I saw so many actors, and we tried to match them together, but then I never found the right chemistry.
Yeah. Then the film lives and dies on its chemistry as well. Like if those two don't get along,
for me, it was the most important thing. So I think we took like quite a few months to find the right people. Then we found like Jack and Alex, and when we put them together, like one day, do you mind just do a scene together to see how it works, and we just they just click.
And they never met before
without knowing each other. So it's like, yes, that's right. That's the right pair, like the right couple. And since then, I have to be honest, that we work with the actors like a lot for an entire year. So we've done like rehearsals like so many times. We basically took this as a theater play, because we were constantly doing like rehearsals, like even at our place, so studying dialogues, like literally like sometimes like on every single line. So like just studying like the subtle subtext or the intention behind every single line. So it's been like a very long work that we've done like with them, but it's mainly like thanks to them as well that we're here today, because like I think like as you said, their chemistry is like it's just unbelievable, and they've done they literally put a lot of efforts into this, and that's why I'm gonna always be thankful to them as well. And I think that Liam also worked a lot with them in order to get the right
we were lucky
stuff.
that they had such a good starting point of chemistry. They just got along like a house on fire. And then when we had to film the scenes where they don't know each other, I kind of had to remind them to be like, hey, you're not friends at this point. But thankfully, even just in this poster that Werner, Southampton poster designer, did a brilliant job of, you can see it on that poster, and that's why it's become sort of the main focal image of it.
Yeah, there were many actors that work really well, individually, but none of the actors that we cast, that did audition for this role, they never worked as well as them. So when we found them, we were like, yes.
We kind of knew we had it, didn't we?
Yeah, we had them. Yeah.
Again, it feels like, a great script, obviously, for them. Liam, you brought out, an incredible relationship on screen with them. And obviously they came with some talent, so yeah, a lovely marriage all around, I think. What was David Bradley like to direct?
Oh, absolute gem. I was terrified when he arrived, when he rolled up in his car.
I remember the silence then that day before he came on set.
He just sort of shuffled in, and we were all like, woo. Then at one point, I was going up to give him a note. I was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Bradley, could you maybe talk a bit louder, please, if that's all right?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." Then actually, he was just really sound and really nice, and just really happy to be there, happy to have a day out. He had his lines on his iPad and was just chatting away to the makeup girl most of the day. It's absolutely lovely. Like, couldn't have asked better.
And I have to say, even for that, like, you need to sometimes think outside the box, because like many people said, like, well, no A-list actor will say yes to this. Like, it's such a small project. Like, they're all like young filmmakers or whatever. But I'm always like, well, I'll give it a shot, like, you know. And I emailed like his agents, like, and he read the script, and I still remember, like, he sent me personally an email with a whole feedback about my script that I still keep. Like, I kind of want to print it now. And he said, yes, like, I want to do it. Like, if you want me, like, I'm very grateful. And I was like, you're grateful, like, I'm grateful.
So we'll do you the favor, David, of letting you be.
But that's why sometimes these things happen. That's what I was saying. Like, you just need to keep trying and believe that even like something that is very difficult and looks impossible maybe might happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There was another question right at the back, and then I think that will be our last.
It's been done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think unless anyone else has anything desperate to say, we need to wrap up. But just a huge congratulations to both of you, to everyone involved with the film. Thank you, Colin, from Verve Pictures, for helping make this evening possible. And yeah, well done. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We all look for signs. And we all want to believe that the bad things happen for a reason.
Can I have a pint, please?
And that at some point, all of our suffering will pay off. The truth of the matter is, there is no big picture. There is no pattern, no fate, no such thing as meaning. Just fortunate and unfortunate people.
You are a nerd. Well, at the end of tonight, right, we need to find meaning in our sad, desperate little lives.
Speak for yourself. I really thought he was the one. We took things slowly, and then we decided to have our first night together.
I always wanted to play music. Country music, to be exact.
Southern Mondays adds Moonshine, the biggest country music song. It's on tonight. Do you want to embrace reality, Oliver?
I just realised that I actually know your name. I'm Oliver.
I'm Lucas.
Who broke your heart?
No one.
No, please, tell me, who broke your heart? No. Honestly, you've got to fight back. You clearly just endure these kinds of men.
Yeah, but sorry, I was bullied for pretty much all of my teenage years.
Well, why do you like acting so much then?
Every line means something. Real life has no meaning.
I think sometimes people think they're better off alone. Maybe they just run away and hide because they need someone to find them.
I only pray when I need help.
Which is not very religious, it's just very convenient.
Maybe one day we'll look back at these moments and it will be right there in front of us, but we just couldn't see it. Yeah.